Watching.
One, Zay Flowers. Does he play? Because Lamar Jackson has 52 completions this year versus man defense. 27 of them went to Zay. And then Kyle Hamilton is another Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He saved their season defensively. Zay Flowers, does he or does he not go, is going to be a huge impact on this football game.
And again, for those who are just joining us, going right back to the beginning, Schefter, you don't think it sounds like he's going to go?
I think it's unlikely, and we'll see if there are any developments today that would change that. But he hasn't practiced the last 2 days. And if you're not practicing 2 days before the game, you're not playing in that game.
Seems unlikely. So the Ravens are a 9.5-point favorite in this game. The Steelers are, to call them limping would be an understatement for how they're coming in. So, Dan, you have devised a little plot, a little plan, a little wrinkle for how maybe the Steelers can give themselves a shot that nobody sees coming.
I would play Justin Fields on first downs. Ooh. Everyone always says these packages, third downs and in the red zone. This is a bad first down offense in Pittsburgh, and it has been for a couple weeks now. Well, number one, they're worse in yards per play. That's both the pass game struggling and the run game. They don't get to the second level. That means success rate is bad, and the QBR performance, because everything is stacked against them, is poor. That's why I would get Justin Fields on the field, because the worst thing I want to do is get into third and obvious passing situations. Because I can tell you right now, Zach Orr, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore, is going to get into their simulated or fake pressures. People up at the line of scrimmage create the one-on-ones, and you think, oh, here comes a deep ball to George Pickens. No. They're just going to rush forward. They're going to keep 7 in coverage. They're going to run stunts and twist games. Russell Wilson's not going to have anybody throw the football to, because they're only going to get 3 or 4 people out, and it's going to become a sack fumble, run around. This time, they only have 6 in protection. Baltimore puts 7 up at the line of scrimmage. There's no hot plan, and now you have people dropping out in coverage again. 7 versus 4 is always advantage defense. The one-on-ones are created, and now the pass rush has the opportunity to impact the play. There's nowhere to go with the football. They're going to get off the field. 4-game losing streak. The Pittsburgh Steelers average on third down, 3rd and 8.5 yards. If they think that they're going to go to Baltimore and do that and have any shot of winning, they're kidding themselves. I'd play Justin Fields early to try to get better first down efficiency.
Okay, so when you say get better first down efficiency, are you talking about packages for runs for Justin Fields? Because when I hear that, if I'm Russell Wilson, I don't like that. I don't want to come out of the game. I don't want to have sub packages in the playoffs.
Disruptive to your rhythm, right?
Absolutely, it kills your rhythm. So I would say you're better off just playing Justin Fields if that is the case, especially if you want to get some more ammo on first down.
Step into my office. No, I felt like I've wanted that for a majority of the season. I don't think it's necessarily Justin, it's first down, go run the football. Okay. That's going to be part of it, but I think we can go operate a little bit of a run game, quick game, play action game, with Justin. That gives us a little bit more variety for offense. And I get the Russell point. We got to go win the game, dude. Sure. Like, we got to go win the football game. And if we're really about us and trying to find a way, this is where we're struggling.
And Arthur Smith said they're going to leave no stone unturned. But I look at this. Justin Fields hasn't played in 2 out of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, he was dealing with an injury as well that he got in the Philadelphia Eagles game. He also wasn't practicing. So now we're going to get to the playoffs. And this guy hasn't taken many snaps in months of the season. And we're saying, all right, we're going to insert him, and he's going to be the one to figure this out. Like, I think maybe you start a series with him. So you start the game, Russ is out there, is not getting it done. Maybe you spring it on the defense of he starts a series and see how they adapt and what they do in the game. If he's hot and he goes in there, you let him ride. If he's not, you go with Russ and you let it go. My question is, what's the alternative? That we just continue to run out what we're doing, and because they're not going to give George Pickens one-on-one. Yes, I'm with you. But their last Ravens game, that was a good football game. Russ fumbles the ball on the 3-yard line.
Correct.
And he throws a pick 6. Like, we got to just not turn the ball over, and we're in that football game. I don't want to get too drastic of a change now when you're getting ready to play a playoff game.
I'm saying.
Schefter, get in.
When Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith was talking about this game, he talked about the fact that now we're in sudden death, now it's elimination, and now it's time to unload the playbook. And when he said that, you just began to wonder, does that mean unloading the playbook includes a little bit of Justin Fields? Again, to go back to our earlier conversation, maybe he's not fully healthy. Maybe we work him into the game here and let him run short little runs and take on some bigger responsibilities later in the game.
It's worth pointing out, and I know that it's a big number. The Ravens are a big favorite. But But there are a few things that lean in the other direction. Again, the Zay Flowers injury is a big one. What an important part of the explosive nature of their offense he is. And the other is that the Steelers just always play them well.
Yeah. No
It's
doubt.
just the reality of it. They beat them earlier this season. The second game was, you just pointed it out, that was a game that was there for the taking. It was just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, whenever that was, a couple weeks ago on a Saturday. That game was right there for the taking. Steelers made some mistakes late in that game. Otherwise, they had a chance to win it. I mean, this is a matchup the Steelers generally have always handled well.
Well, I'll also say this, compliments of Hembo, okay? Baltimore has the largest margin of victory of any playoff opponent. They have scored 112 points more than any other team. Pittsburgh's at the bottom, minus 30 scoring.
Versus playoff teams.
Versus playoff. Well,
Right.
yes.
Yes, it's
scoring
versus
margin
playoff
teams.
teams. It is.
Baltimore's plus 112. Tomlin is an underdog in the playoffs, 1-6.
Wow.
He's an underdog again, 1-6. So Pittsburgh now has to try to do something that it has not had a strong history of doing, which means they've got to empty that playbook and do everything possible to find a way to win in Baltimore. But I'll also say this.
Yeah.
I don't think they care because they played in Baltimore before 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And had a legitimate chance to win the game until they forced the fumble on Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh thinks
I don't think you're taking over
win.
for Russell Wilson. I just think you're trying to help your offense
Get a spark.
Yeah, just something. Not every first down, but occasionally do it.
I think the point that we're making here is if we were having a discussion trying to get to the bottom of which is the better team, it would be a very short conversation. But styles make fights. And for whatever reason, this has always been a fight the Steelers at least have a shot in. So to use that analogy, a puncher's chance, I think they definitely have. All right, back on Get Up, bottom of the hour here, and we've got a list this morning. We'll call it the Dan list. We gave Orlovsky a very difficult homework assignment, and I know you agonized over this. So the question is, of all the teams that are in the playoffs,
Yes, sir.
which team has the best triplets? Remember we used to call them the triplets, like in Pittsburgh when they had those three guys, or in Dallas when they had those three guys. The quarterback, running back, receiver combination. Give me the top 5 in these playoffs.
All right, so the Rams isn't in there. Stafford's not in there. For all you people who think I'm a Stafford homer, I wrestled not putting them in there, but he's not in. Number 5 is going to be Minnesota. Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, and Justin Jefferson. I know Sam Darnold's coming off of probably his worst game of the season, but he and Justin Jefferson have very much so been in kind of that MVP conversation this year. And Aaron Jones within this Kevin O'Connell offense is such a viable threat for their football team. They are a problem for defenses to constantly handle. Number 4, mixtape Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and Bucky Irving, they are absolutely spectacular. 1, the ball downfield to Mike. 2, Bucky Irving is an up-and-coming superstar in our league, and Baker Mayfield threw for America 41 touchdowns. Cleveland probably wants him back as their quarterback. But Mike Evans, the Hall of Famer, a massive part of this playoff conversation. Number 3, I'm going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. I know Jalen Hurts is coming off of the long period of time of having not played, but him, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley, who's the best back in football right now, if Jalen was coming off of playing the full season and not having to break, they might have been a little bit earlier. But I say this, no one can cover A.J. one-on-one, and I think trying to stop Saquon Barkley, good luck. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. An MVP candidate in Lamar Jackson, an MVP candidate in Derrick Henry, and then their first time ever drafting a receiver in Zay Flowers and him making the Pro Bowl. Derrick Henry, the guy that as you give him the ball throughout the game, dominates the football game. Lamar's as good as anybody in the league right now, and Zay Flowers winning those one-on-one coverages, problems. But number 1 is no question about it, the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, the cast-off. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the 4th or 5th round pick, and Jahmyr Gibbs, who was their number 2 back this season. That's the best trio left in these playoffs. Jared Goff operates the system so efficiently under Ben Johnson. Amon-Ra St. Brown, at one point they had 30 straight completions. As good when it comes to money on the line receiver we have in the league. And Jahmyr Gibbs, now that he's the guy, America's realizing how special of a talent that he is.
I love the list. Bring the guys in here. There was It is remarkable how much talent there is at the top, because when you consider that Jalen Hurts, who was an MVP candidate a couple of years ago, Saquon Barkley, who is an MVP candidate, and A.J. Brown, who may be the toughest cover in the entire NFL, is third on the list. But I can't argue with it. I think it's an absolutely outstanding list. Any thoughts real quick on it?
Did you text Stafford and say, Matt, I'm not going to put you on the list, but you know you're number one in my heart?
Yeah, I mean,
Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams.
I maybe beat around the bush a little bit. I didn't put Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin.
They
were going to be constant. They were. Those were the two teams I wrestled not having in there.
The problem is with the Commanders, Jayden Daniels would have been both the quarterback and the running back.
Yeah.
He was actually their leading rusher this season. And so let's talk about him for a minute. Cindy, give me the full screen graphic C19, because this applies to two different players this weekend. We have two rookie quarterbacks making their first career playoff starts this weekend. We'll see Bo Nix on Sunday early, and we will see Jayden Daniels, the spectacular rookie, going back to 1950. Rookie quarterbacks are 8 and 14 making their first career playoff start. What do we expect from Jayden Daniels, who has had a rookie season unlike practically any we've ever seen?
Well, I look at that first game where they matched up, and Jayden took off a ton in that game. And I get it, because Todd Bowles and that defense, they're sending at least 5 guys at you all the time. They like to mix their pressures and bring a lot of people. I expect in this matchup, that was his first ever NFL game.
Sure.
He has a lot more patience, the confidence in the wins and what he's been able to do this season. I expect him to throw the ball on the outside to Terry McLaurin a ton. He only had 4 targets in that first matchup for only 2 catches. Appreciate your Himbo.
Shefty, how about Jayden Daniels getting this first opportunity here?
Well, listen, he has been one of the stories of the season. He has revitalized a franchise that was an afterthought and made them relevant again, and they will be relevant for years to come. I think of Ben Johnson not following through on an interview with the Commanders. Can you imagine if Ben Johnson had taken that job and been with this quarterback in Washington? And I think the Washington Commanders now against Tampa, tough matchup, winnable game for Washington, and the story of Jayden Daniels would only gain steam if somehow he can find a way to upset the Buccaneers on Sunday.
This is the game that I think could become a shootout. This is a game that I think both teams can get into the 30s, because Tampa's offense, we just talked about it, absolutely spectacular. I agree with J-Mac. I think that when it comes to Terry McLaurin, I would find the perimeter players of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and throw the ball a ton on the outside, because it's really one of two things. They're going to give you a ton of space, and so the completions are easy. You just get the ball out, or they're going to challenge, and I don't think, in my opinion, that they have the people to run with Terry McLaurin. So I expect, kind of in the pass game outside, Washington to kind of get whatever, whenever they want.
It's a fascinating game. Obviously, every weekend, or every game this weekend has so many different storylines. We will stay on all of those.